All right, we're recording. Thank you, everybody, for joining us again. My name is Caleb Talley. I'm the Director of Marketing and Events here at the Startup Junkie Foundation. We're so pleased to have each and every one of you with us today for this webinar. Taking the time out of your day to participate, we appreciate it. For those of you who may not be familiar with Startup Junkie, we're a mission-driven organization based here in Northwest Arkansas that supports, inspires, and educates entrepreneurs and innovators by providing no-cost one-on-one consulting, events, workshops, programs, just like this one here today that we are doing collaboratively with some of our friends in the region. We remove barriers for historically underserved populations by democratizing access to entrepreneurial resources and providing strategic support to any individual seeking to establish or grow their business. Just some stats here. Though only about 25% of small businesses in Arkansas are owned by women and 14.7% are owned by minorities, almost half of nearly 1,000 clients we support each year are women, minority, or veteran owned, and that number continues to grow. I'm excited to introduce you to my colleague, Martha Londigan. She's an executive business consultant with Startup Junkie Foundation, where she also serves as the capital access manager for the NWA Kiva U.S. Micro Loan Program. She's a former small business banker and attorney. She's very active with many Northwest Arkansas chambers of commerce and networking groups in the region. And so without further ado, I'll turn it over to you, Martha.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us. And I like to tell everybody where we're located, because we've been in the last year having folks from all over the country join us on our Zoom events and workshops. So Caleb and I are both coming to you from our Startup Junkie Foundation offices, which are located on the historic Fayetteville Square. So that's where we're physically located. And as the world continues to open back up, we do office hours in downtown Springdale and in Bentonville at the Exchange Building near its downtown. So you can always visit startupjunkie.org, and you can always go there and hit team, and you can contact me or Caleb. You can click on the events tab and see all of these workshops we have going on, usually around 150 to 200 a year events. All our events are free of charge. Our foundation is funded by many sponsors, including the state of Arkansas, the Arkansas Economic Development Commission. We have programs with the United States Small Business Administration. We have sponsored programs from the Walton Family Foundation. So there is never a charge for our services. You can book an appointment for one-on-one consulting about anything having to do with small business. We have no filters other than we need your business to be located in the 9 counties of Northwest Arkansas, or you're looking at bringing a business here. So those are the only requirements we have to meet with you. So today, this program is about government contracting, and you're going to hear the word procurement used a lot. And I like everyone to know procurement simply means the ability to get something, right? And so procurement is a term that is used a lot with government contracting at the local, like a city, the state, or the federal government. And so that's the gist of what we're talking about. And so you can see why this affects every type of small business. And so our sponsors today and our participants are the Arkansas Procurement Assistance Center, and then also the United States Small Business Center, United States Small Business Administration, which has centers all over the state to help people, also has a main office in Little Rock. And one of our speakers I'm going to introduce you to in a minute, Claudia Wilson, is coming to us from Little Rock. So the U.S. Small Business Administration is funded by the government, and one of its primary things is to help small businesses get loans through banks through its lending program. And because it's the government, it's very interested in empowering women and minorities in disadvantaged areas of town and disadvantaged borrowers. So that fits very well with the Arkansas Procurement Assistance Center, which provides counselors to help people learn the government contracting. And then our other sponsor that we're getting ready to have tell you hello is the Rogers-Lowell Area Chamber of Commerce. And obviously a Chamber of Commerce is working with all the businesses in the region. It's working with the city and the county and the state. And so chambers of commerce are very interested in promoting programs like this to help their businesses grow. So our first person to say hello to you is Steve Cox, who is the Economic Development Director at the Rogers-Lowell Area Chamber. So Steve, you want to say hello to everyone?
Yes, thank you, Martha. We appreciate that. And as she said, I'm Steve Cox with the Rogers-Lowell Area Chamber of Commerce. We have a couple other staff members on the call right now as well. Karen Wagaman, who handles all of our downtown economic development. And if I was scrolling through, it looked like I saw Marnie Rogers. Marnie is our customer service individual who handles all the fun questions for our members when they log in or have issues with trying to get registered for an event, things like that. So happy to have them here as well. Pardon me, my allergies are having a fun time with me today. But as Martha mentioned, we do work with businesses of all shapes and sizes. We are here in Rogers, Arkansas. We are the Rogers-Lowell Chamber of Commerce, but we truly take a regional approach in all that we do. And that is why we are so happy and thrilled to always partner with any opportunities that we have, specifically with Startup Junkie, with the SBA. Max has presented at our facility a few times over the years as well. So we're always looking for opportunities, because as 2020 showed us, when people have plenty of time to sit around at home and do nothing but think, they come up with some great business ideas. So we actually assisted approximately 600 individuals needing assistance in starting or expanding a business just in 2020 last year as part of our chamber. And we couldn't have done it without our partner organizations such as Startup Junkie, the ASBTDC, and SCORE, who we work with on a very regular basis to help with that. So the chamber is here for you. We're here to help promote your business. We're here to help grow your business. And we're here to ultimately just create a pro-business, pro-growth environment that not only encourages businesses to start and thrive, but residents to continue to move here from out of the area to start businesses, to create job opportunities, and just make this a wonderful place to live, work, and play. So if you have any other questions or would like to learn more about what the chamber does, feel free to visit our website, rogerslowell.com, or you can call up here to our main line, and any of our associates will be able to help you with that. So again, thank you guys for joining. Looking forward to learning some great things about procurement.
Thank you, Steve. And Steve's humble, and the Rogers Chamber is humble, and I will tell you, it is the second largest chamber of commerce in the state of Arkansas. And I've had a relationship with that chamber for over 8 years, and they truly have a heart of service for small business owners. No business is too small for them to serve their members and their community. So great people. The next person I'd like to say have introduced themselves and tell you a little bit about the Arkansas Procurement and Technical Assistance Center for the state of Arkansas is its program director, Melanie Berman. And Melanie's coming to us from Little Rock. And then later you'll hear from Max Franks, who is one of the actual procurement counselors that folks meet with. And so Max and Melanie work together. So Melanie, if you'd like to say hello and show everyone your slide presentation. And do know every slide presentation you see today will be emailed out to you in a PDF. If you didn't sign up through our Eventbrite, then we don't have your email. So you'll need to go to our website and email me or Caleb, find our emails and tell us that you didn't get, if somebody just shared the link with you. And then we're also going to send out a video recording. So if you end up having to bug out early, or if we go over time, you will be sent a recording of everything you see in here today. So Melanie, if you would educate our folks about the wonderful Arkansas Ptac.
Thank you, Martha. I really appreciate the invitation. We have a great relationship with Startup Junkie Foundation in Northwest Arkansas, and we're looking to expand that and offer more trainings in the next year. Excuse me. I think my allergies are also bugging me. It's all the lovely spring weather. So Ptac stands for Procurement Technical Assistance Center. And we are part of a nationwide grant program funded by Department of Defense. And so we have Ptacs across 49 states, including Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Northern Mariana Islands. In Arkansas, we have a statewide program, and we have one location currently in Bentonville, and that is where Max is, and we support the whole northwest part of the state. We are soon to open up a center in Northeast Arkansas. I hope to announce that soon. And then, of course, we have offices in Little Rock. Currently, we're all working remotely still, and hopefully that won't be for much longer. We'll get back to in-person events. very soon, and we'll continue with these virtual trainings because we see that our client base really does appreciate this. So we are part of this Association of Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. And so all the Ptacs in the US in 2019 served over 57,000 small business clients and helped them to win over $24 billion in government contracts. Yes, that's $1 billion. There's a lot of federal government money to be had out there, and that doesn't even include the state and local government contracts. So for every $1 that the federal government invests, that's like a return on investment of around $553, which is amazing. In Arkansas, it's a little bit more, and so we're very proud of that. And so if you are not in Arkansas, I suspect most of the companies will be located here in our state, but if not, give us a call and we'll certainly connect you to Ptac in your area. You can also find a link in this PowerPoint presentation, which will be shared with you, and you can search that way. This is what the website looks like. It'll show every single Ptac in the US. It kind of gives a little bit about what we do. It talks about what Max will go into in his lengthy presentation later on, about the government registrations and the various small business certifications out there. In Arkansas, we are so proud of this. And Max, I would say in Northwest Arkansas, that's probably half our client base up there. So he is doing amazing things in your part of the woods. So $187 million just in our last program year for our clients. And that's just phenomenal. And that is a little under 4,000 jobs created or retained as a result of government contracts for our small business clients. This is our team. As Martha stated, I'm the program director. We have a program support person who answers our main phone line. She's the one that's hosting a lot of our Ptac hosted virtual trainings at the moment, and can contact you if you need any support or need to be contacted with any of the counselors. Deborah Garcia covers Northeast part of the state. I've definitely talked about Max up there, and then we have Liz and Tim who cover the rest of the state. We are a statewide program and support all across the state, so keep that in mind. So we provide one-on-one counseling for small business clients, and currently that's through virtual. We could do Zoom sessions, we could do Teams, whatever is more convenient for you. We can also help you over the phone. Typically, when we're back to in-person meetings, you would come into our office and we can certainly assist you in that way. We have proposal reviews. We can help you interpret the bid opportunities. So if government contracting is something that's new to you and you don't understand all of the regulations, that's what our counselors are here for. Once you put together your bid, they can go through line by line the proposal and make sure you're doing everything correctly before you submit it. We have a free bid matching service that we provide to all of our active clients. And so that's anyone that's attended one of our Ptac hosted trainings or someone that has met with one of our counselors throughout the year. And that service, I'm telling you, other places typically charge hundreds of dollars a year for this. So take advantage of that. If you're ready for government contracting, it's searching over 3,000 websites. I think it might be closer to 4,000 various government websites right now for any contracts that matches your specific industry. And a counselor can certainly connect you and set up your bid matching profile. If you're not quite ready to be a large contractor, you want to kind of dip your toes in the water and start out with subcontracting, we can walk you through that process as well. We have several large companies that we are connected with in our state, and we can make you aware of all the subcontracting opportunities with them. And quite frequently, they're looking for those minority-owned businesses, those businesses that fall into those small business certifications that SBA will later speak about, and Max will speak about in today's presentation. And we typically have about 70 events a year. So there's a lot of training opportunities out there. All of ours are always going to be free to you. And I know that there's so many resources out there and it can be overwhelming. We put all of our recorded trainings on our website. So, anytime that you have the time, feel free to take advantage. The focus areas, as I mentioned, are local, state, and federal. So essentially, if taxpayer money is being paid for a service, that is a government contract. So just remember it in that way. We can help you with these small business certifications that Max will talk about. We can help you with developing your capability statement and your SBA marketing profile. Essentially, when a government buyer or a contracting officer goes to search for specific goods or service that they need to purchase for on behalf of the government, you have a profile that's in there. If that's blank, I guarantee they're just going to walk right on by you. So make sure that that's filled out and take advantage, and our counselors can help you with that marketing profile. So what we can't do, Arkansas Ptac does not provide direct financial support. We do not provide loan assistance. We don't provide grants, so just keep that in mind. We're very specific to the field of government contracting. Now, we are connected with the various small business resource partners out there, and we'll make sure that you are connected, whether it be to the Arkansas Small Business Technology Center, SBA, or SCORE, if we're not able to help you ourselves. So we cannot do the bid or the proposal for you because, that's your business, you know it best, you know what prices to charge. And we are not allowed to represent your company or make any decisions, obviously, for your company, and we can't help with any legal actions against the government or accept payments. So just keep that in mind whenever we're providing assistance to you. That's pretty standard for anyone that's getting government funds. This is our website. This is what it looks like. We have, anything from getting started. We have all of our upcoming trainings on there, all of our recorded virtual trainings on there from the last year. We have a monthly newsletter that goes out, and you can see all the past government contracting tips and success stories that are there on our website. Our staff contact information is on this site, so you can have Max's direct email and phone number. Anytime you need to, just pull up our website on our staff page and you can see that. We also have on the resources tab, we link to all of our small business resource partners. And Martha, if we don't have Startup Junkie on there, we probably need to add y'all. So remind me after this, because they are such a great resource up there and we want to make sure everyone's connected to them. Our contact information is here. I will state this, for those that are familiar and have worked with Ptac before, we had a slight change in our email address and our domain, our website. So you will now be seeing, instead of just uaex.edu, they'll add a UADA. So I've updated all the information in the slides here, but if you can't find us upon first search, that's probably why. UADA. These are some of the upcoming trainings that we have over the next month. The Generator in Pine Bluff is hosting 2 trainings in the month of March for us, and you guys are welcome to take part in those. We have an Introduction to Government Contracting class. Both of these are going to be virtual and in person, but feel free to go to that link and register for that class. Then on March 30th, there'll be a Marketing to the Government class that they're also hosting. We will be hosting a Getting Started with System 4 Awards Management. So if you are interested in selling to the government, the federal government, this would be a great class for you to take. We will go over how to get your vendor registration with the federal government started. And if you already are registered with SAM and you need to remember how to renew your registration, please, please, please come to this free training. With SAM registration, I just heard of another one today, and it just infuriates me. There's so many companies out there that are trying to scam small businesses. They're trying to tell you you need to pay $600 for a SAM registration. Do not ever do that. Ptac counselors can help you with this service for free. Okay, so if you don't take anything else away from this class today, please remember that. And always, if you think something's a scam email and it has to do with government contracting, contact Max, contact one of us at Ptac. and we'll definitely make sure you're aware if it's a scam or not scam. And then we're going to be working with the City of Little Rock. They're hosting an Equity, Leadership, Access, and Business virtual procurement expo. And so we're very excited about that. And that'll be Saturday, March 27th. Like I said, it'll be virtual. So if you're interested to work with the City of Little Rock, and even though you might not be based in Little Rock, this could be a great opportunity for you. And this is our contact information. This will be shared after the presentation by Caleb, so just keep that in mind. And with that, Martha, I'll turn it back to you. Thank you so much, and I hope that everyone learns a great deal today from SBA and Ptac.
Yes, and Melanie, we had a question come in, and I think if you'll walk through this with me, I think it'll answer this. Mr. Jefferson asked, will you help businesses that are registered in other states get registered in Arkansas? And so I'm not sure if he's talking about Ptac or his business. So I would assume for the Arkansas Ptac office to assist people, their business has to be a registered business with the Arkansas Secretary of State. Do they have to have a presence, a physical presence in our state? Or like if my business is actually in Missouri and I run it there, can I just register to do business in Arkansas and then the Arkansas Ptac office help me? Can you answer that real quickly,
Sure.
Mr. Jefferson?
So if you are headquartered in Arkansas, like you said, Martha, if you're registered with Secretary of State, that falls within our purview to provide assistance to that company. However, if you are registered with Missouri and maybe you just have a satellite location in Arkansas or something of that nature, we could probably still help you, but we'd also want to refer you to the Missouri Ptac, and they do the exact same thing that we do. If you're looking to sell to the state of Arkansas or sell and you're not registered within, as a company like headquartered in Arkansas, you are more than welcome to attend our trainings. We typically offer at least 2 selling to the state of Arkansas classes a year. We have some on our website that you're more than welcome to look at, but the Ptac in your state would be able to help you understand how to sell to Arkansas or sell to local entities here.
Okay, yeah. So just filing a form with the Secretary of State saying we're a foreign business doing business in Arkansas is not enough for your specific services. You have to actually have a satellite office or a presence in Arkansas.
Yeah, and unfortunately that's due to our terms and conditions. If they're a foreign business, typically they would most likely have a subsidiary or some kind of registration within the U.S. So we could work around that. I would just say go ahead and contact Max afterwards, and we can look at that.
Actually, Melanie, the Arkansas Secretary of State uses the word foreign just to mean a different state. So if you want to register in Arkansas, even though you're in Missouri, they still use that term, even though it's state to state. So
okay.
Yeah, I think that's great. So the main thing is reach out to your state's Ptac, where you're headquartered. They can help walk you through how to bid on other states. So great. All right, our next speaker for you all is Claudia Wilson, and Claudia is coming to us from Little Rock at the United States Small Business Administration Office, which has a major office and presence in Little Rock. And Claudia is a program support assistant with the SBA office there. She teaches small businesses about SBA programs, including the one we all hear about so much in the last year, the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP loans, SBA loans, government contracting. And prior to this, Claudia had spent 10 years in the healthcare world, working with people and individuals with disabilities. So that works great with SBA because the federal government really wants to support businesses, especially disabled veterans. And she has a master's in business administration focused on human resources. So I'll let Claudia talk to you about some of the SBA programs that are beneficial to help you with contracting, because sometimes if you land a really big contract, not only do you have to be certified and then bid and get the contract, but the SBA can give you some ideas and loan options and send you to local banks to help you fund actually producing and performing on that contract. So Claudia, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Martha. Can you hear me? Good afternoon, everyone. I want to sincerely welcome you to today's webinar. Again, my name is Claudia Wilson, and I'm a Program Support Assistant for the Arkansas District Office. If you have any questions and I'm unable to answer these questions today, please feel free to reach out to us at arkansas_do@sba.gov. If you're looking for any updates to our programs, such as our PPP program that everyone's focused on right now, please visit the link at the bottom of the slide and sign up for our SBA newsletter. With our newsletter, you will receive online training and information on upcoming events in Arkansas. Please review this information today and use this webinar to help you understand our programs more fully. Again, if you have any further questions, we would be happy to assist you, so do not hesitate to reach out to us. Today, I'm going to briefly discuss the primary functions of the SBA, focusing mainly on federal contracting programs. The contracting programs that are available through the SBA include the Women-Owned Small Business Federal Contracting Program, the 8A Business Development Program, the Hubzone Program, and the Service-Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business Programs. Working with the SBA, small business owners and entrepreneurs are empowered to succeed with access to capital, valuable resources, business know-how, and the right expertise for each stage of your business life cycle. There are some questions to consider. Where are you in your business life cycle, and what are you looking to achieve? SBA focuses on giving small businesses the tools needed to grow and create jobs. We like to talk about our 3 C's: capital, contracting, and counseling. The first C is capital. If you're looking for a way to finance your growth, an SBA loan might be what you need. The SBA doesn't actually make the loans directly. Instead, we guarantee a percentage of each loan made by lenders who partner with us. Our guarantee reduces the risk, which means that these SBA lending partners are more likely to help small businesses that can't get access to conventional loans. The second C is contracts. The federal government spends $500 billion a year in contracts. We work with all federal agencies to put at least 23% of that money into the hands of small businesses. We also work with small businesses directly through training and business development programs to help them compete for and win contracts. The third C is counseling. Arkansas has 8 small business and technology development centers, 2 women's business centers, 2 SCORE chapters, and 2 regional innovation clusters located here in the state of Arkansas. We also have a Veterans Business Outreach Center located in Texas that serves the state of Arkansas. These business experts offer counseling and training that is nearly always free to entrepreneurs. Now we're going to discuss federal contracting. Before we explore the contracting program specifically, you may be wondering why you should even consider federal contracting. What is that benefit to you? The government is considered the world's largest buyer. Purchases by military and civilian installations amount to nearly $500 billion a year, and the government's procurement policy, which encourages prime and subcontracting opportunities for small businesses, is a catalyst for economic growth. Federal statute defines government-wide prime contracting goals, which represent a primary tool in helping small firms be considered for government contracts. The current government-wide procurement goal is at least 23% of all federal contracting dollars. By participating in federal contracts, you can get a slice of this pie and obtain lucrative awards for your business. There are 3 methods of limiting competition to win government contracts, and that includes full and open competition, small business set-asides, including certification-based and socioeconomic categories, and sole source. This limited competition can help small businesses win government contracts. The federal government has specified annual prime contracting goals for designated small businesses. That includes for women-owned small businesses, 5% of all federal contracting dollars. For small disadvantaged businesses, including 8A certification, that's 5%. Hub zones, which are historically underutilized business zones, is 3%. Service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses is also 3%. And of course, that overall small business goal is 23%. And those set-asides are reserved for small businesses between the micro-purchase threshold and the simplified acquisition threshold, which is from $10,000 to $250,000. For the set-asides and acquisition goals, women-owned small businesses for all contracts can get contracts up to $4.5 million. And for manufacturing contracts, that's up to $7 million. For 8A, that's $7 to $7.5 million for manufacturing, and $4 and $4.5 to all other contracts. Hubzone businesses is $7 million to $7.5 million, and $4 million to $4.5 million. And then for service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses, that's $6.5 million to $7 million, and $4 million for all other than manufacturing. So there are several different types of certifications that you can get through the Small Business Administration. There are some changes that have occurred recently. Some of the ways that SBA is advocating for small businesses through government contracting is described on this slide. The SBA is making changes to the Hubzone regulations to streamline the application process and provide faster certification decisions. In fiscal year of 2020, the All Small Mentor Protege and the 8A Business Development Mentor Protege programs were consolidated into one program. If you are a woman-owned small business, you will no longer be required to pay for a third party to certify your business. The new self-certify system is now available for free. For service-disabled veteran-owned businesses, the ownership and control requirements are now consolidated into one regulation. And currently, there is legislation being proposed to amend regulations on credit for small business subcontracting. Once again, the SBA works with federal agencies to award at least 23% of all prime government contracting dollars to small businesses that are certified with our contracting programs. As of September 30th of 2020, there were 9 federal agencies who awarded a total of 22 8A contracts to 12 Arkansas firms totaling over $188 million. And Arkansas Wozbee, or women-owned small business firms, secured over $35 million in federal contracting. To help provide a level playing field for women business owners, the Women-Owned Small Business Federal Contracting Program allows contracting officers to set aside contracts for certified Wozbees and economically disadvantaged women-owned small business, or ED Wozbees, in eligible industries. The federal government's annual prime contracting goal for Wozbees and ED Wozbees is 5%, and agencies can meet this 5% goal through contract awards made under the Wozbee Federal Contracting Program. The Wozbee Federal Contracting Program allows those contracting officers to also make sole source awards to Wozbees under specific circumstances. Sole source contracts are subject to thresholds, and that's going to be $6.5 million for manufacturing and $4 million for other services. The SBA implements and administers the Wozbee Federal Contracting Program, and our regulations provide the framework with SBA procedures incorporated into the Federal Acquisition Regulation, or FAR. To determine if the Wozbee certification is appropriate for you, there's going to be a few concerns. First off, you must be a small business concern for the primary NAICS code or contracts. So a NAICS code is the North American Industry Classification System. And with those codes, that's going to classify your business based on the product or the service that you provide. And Wozbee or ED Wozbee contracts do have limited NAICS codes, and I believe there's 444 currently for these two programs. You also must be at least 51% owned and controlled by one or more women who are U.S. citizens. And this 51% ownership must be direct and unconditional. A woman must also manage the daily business operations, including that a woman must hold the highest officer position within the business. The woman must work the business full-time during normal working hours, and the woman must have the managerial experience required to run the business. The woman must make the long-term decisions for the business, and there's no minimum amount of time for the business to have been operational to join the Wozbee certification. Small businesses that are seeking that economically disadvantaged Wozbee certification will have to submit additional information demonstrating their economic disadvantage. This includes, on top of the Wozbee certification, you also have to include that the net worth of the individual claiming economic disadvantage has to be less than $750,000. The adjusted gross income of the individual averaged over the past 3 years must be less than $350,000. And the fair market value of the individual's assets, including your primary residence and the value of your firm, must be less than $6 million. Please keep in mind that the SBA will look at a spouse's finances if the spouse has a role in the business or has lent money to or provided financial support to the business. To contact the Wozbee Federal Contracting Program and to learn more, what you will need to do is go to sba.gov/WozbeeReady. If you have any questions or concerns about the contracting program, you can send us an email at wosb@sba.gov. And if you look where it's highlighted on this slide, that's going to be that preparation checklist. So on the beta.certify.sba.gov website, where you will apply for the Wozbee program, it has a list of all the documents that you will need to become certified. And of course, if you have any issues and you need to get in touch with the Office of Government Contracting, you can always reach out to them using the contact information on the slide that will be provided later. Next, let's talk a little bit about the 8A Business Development Program. So as a member of the 8A Business Development Program, this provides a level playing field for small businesses owned by socially and economically disadvantaged people or entities. In this program, you can compete for set-aside and sole source contracts. You can take advantage of a business opportunity specialist to help navigate federal contracting. You can feel free to form joint ventures with established businesses through the SBA's Mentor Protege program. Please take advantage of that because you can learn from experts who already have the knowledge. And you can receive management and technical assistance, including business training, counseling, market assistance. And just keep in mind, you can compete for contracting awards under multiple socioeconomic programs as they apply. So if you also meet that service disabled veteran-owned small business certification, you can also obtain awards under the 8A program. When we're talking about the 8A program, there are going to be some requirements. So you cannot have already participated in the 8A program, and you must meet the size standards. So you have to be a small business. You must be at least 51% unconditional ownership by the disadvantaged individual, and that doesn't matter what type of business you are. You have to be owned by, your business has to be owned by someone whose average adjusted gross income for the past 3 years is $350,000 or less, and your personal net worth has to be $750,000 or less. You also have to have $6 million or less in assets. So these are going to be the same qualifications that were under that economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business. The owner has to manage those day-to-day operations and make long-term decisions. All of your principals have to demonstrate good character, and you have to show potential for success and be able to perform successfully on contracts. If you want to get certified as an 8A business, please go to certify.sba.gov and you can register there. For this All Small Mentor Protege program, this is a 3 to 6 year partnership. You can gain some valuable business development insight from mentors who are experienced government contractors, so they can help you navigate the bidding process, they can help you manage contracts, they can help you look at partnership opportunities. So this is going to be a really great thing for someone who's new to government contracting, because with those subcontracting opportunities, you can have that experience from someone who's been through the process. To qualify for the Mentor Protege program, the first term can last up to 3 years. And after the end of those first 3 years, it can be extended for another 3 years. To qualify as a protege, your business must be a small business with some industry experience, have a proposed mentor prior to applying for the program. We're not going to find a mentor for you. You will have to seek out one on your own. You have to be organized for profit or as an agricultural cooperative. You cannot have more than 2 mentors in your entire business's lifetime. And to qualify as a mentor, if you already have some experience with contracting and you want to help bring someone else into the fold, you have to be organized for profit or as an agricultural cooperative. You cannot have more than 3 proteges at a time. And for the SBA to approve the mentor protege agreement, we must determine that the mentor provided assistance will promote real developmental gains for the protege, not just as a vehicle to make sure that that business can get those set-asides. And the SBA must have a determination of affiliation, or the SBA must make sure that there's not a determination of affiliation between the mentor and the protege. Now I'll talk briefly about the Hubzone program, or the Historically Underutilized Business Zone program. The government limits competition for certain contracts to businesses in historically underutilized business zones. It also gives preferential consideration to those businesses in full and open competition. Joining the Hubzone program makes your business eligible to compete for the program's set-aside contracts. Hubzone certified businesses also get a 10% price evaluation preference in full and open competitions. Hubzone certified businesses can still compete for contract awards under other socioeconomic programs that they qualify for as well. To be certified for the Hubzone program, is this something that you're going to be qualified for? You have to be a small business. Of course, we're the Small Business Administration, so that's going to be the main thing with most of our programs. You also have to be at least 51% owned and controlled by U.S. citizens, a community development corporation, an agricultural cooperative, a Native Hawaiian organization, or an Indian tribe. Your principal office has to be located in a hub zone. And if you'll notice, that's a link on there. So it will actually take you to a map that we have available. And at least 35% of your employees have to live in a hub zone as well for you to be qualified for this program. To get certified as a hub zone business, first you have to make sure that you have that sam.gov account. Then you have to have a general login system account. You can apply for Hubzone certification using the general login system. Log in, select access, and then Hubzone before completing the prompts. Make sure you check your emails for those time-sensitive instructions to electronically verify your application within 10 business days. Submit all the requested supporting documentation within that 10 business days. And keep in mind that your submission cannot be assigned for eligibility review until we receive all of those documents. And finally, once that's been approved, go ahead and update your sam.gov profile to indicate that you are in a Hubzone business after you get that email confirmation from us. And the last program that I'm going to talk to you about today is the Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business. Once again, the government's going to limit competitions for certain contracts to businesses that participate in a Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Business program. Joining the Disabled Veterans Business Program makes your business eligible to compete for the program's set-aside contracts. And of course, you can still compete for contract awards under those other socioeconomic programs that you qualify for. To qualify for the SDVOSB program, or the Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business Program, of course, you have to be a small business. You have to be at least 51% owned and controlled by one or more service-disabled veterans. You have to have one or more service-disabled veterans manage the day-to-day operations and make long-term decisions for the business. And the eligible veterans have to have a service-connected disability to be qualified. This is one of the programs that you can actually self-certify. So when you self-certify, what you will do is go to the socioeconomic status on your business profile at sam.gov, and you'll just self-represent yourself as that service-disabled veteran. And please keep in mind that the Department of Veterans Affairs has a large amount of contracts that are given to veterans through their Veterans First contracting program. This is not the same as the SBA's program. You will have to go through the Veterans First verification program to be verified under the Department of Veterans Affairs program. Now, I'm also going to give you a little bit of contacting information. For assistance with contracting at the SBA, Mr. Jerry Talbert is our Deputy District Director, and I've provided his contact information here. Now, he is the main point person for federal contracting within the SBA Arkansas District Office, and he would love to speak with anyone who is interested about federal contracting so that you can learn a little bit more. And if you can't get in touch with Jerry directly, you can always reach out to the Arkansas District Office. We field a whole lot of questions. So if you have questions about the Paycheck Protection Program or one of our traditional loan programs or how to get in touch with a counselor, please feel free to reach out to us. You can give us a call at that 501-324-7379. Email us at arkansas_do@sba.gov and follow us on Twitter at SBA_Arkansas. Please make sure you sign up for our email updates as well. We send out a lot of emails, and that's going to be the best way to find out when we're holding different programs. We hold a lot of webinars. So we have our Paycheck Protection Program webinars. We partner with a lot of the individuals who are here today and some of our other resource partners. So that's going to be the best way to find out about our programs. And of course, please provide us with some feedback so we can get some suggestions on things that we can do better. And this is something that was mentioned before. We have assistance from our SBA partners. So some of our partners are online today. And these partners provide free assistance with nearly any aspect of your business. If you want to find your local office, please go to www.sba.gov/local-assistance to search for a resource partner near you. However, if you are located in the state of Arkansas, the slide that's above has the contact information for all of our wonderful resource partners, including Startup Junkie Consulting, who's hosting this webinar today, the Conductor, the Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Center, SCORE, and the Women's Business Center. And with that, thank you so much for having me join today. I really appreciate having the opportunity, and I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Claudia. We had a question come in from someone, and I think I know the answer, but I'd rather them hear it from you. They asked if SBA loan programs are offered to nonprofits. I do believe that there were some of either the EIDL, the disaster loans, or the PPP that were offered to nonprofits. But typically, what I explained in the chat to this person was nonprofits, because they have 501c3 status from the IRS, have access to grants from government, from private foundations, whereas small businesses, because they're for-profit, don't have access to those types of grants. And now during COVID, we had a few special grants that popped up, but those are probably going to go away pretty soon. So the SBA is how the U.S. government helps for-profit businesses by backing these loans, so banks are more likely to make them, and typically SBA is for-profit. But if you know of some SBA programs or anything, if you could just talk for just a second about if any SBA programs are offered for nonprofits.
Okay, so Martha, you are correct as far as our traditional loan program. So when you're looking at like our 7A or 504 or micro loan programs, you do have to be established as a for-profit business. Now, we do have some disaster programs that are in place right now. We have that economic injury disaster loan. We have the Shuttered Venues Operator Grant. We have the Paycheck Protection Program. I know for a fact that 501c3, 501c6, and 501c19 organizations can qualify for the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, I believe that for our other programs, you do have to be established. I would have to look into our IFR, but I can get that information. And if you have any more questions about that, of course, feel free to reach out to us. Send me an email at arkansas_do@sba.gov. But to my knowledge, the one that I know for a fact that you can apply for as a nonprofit is that Paycheck Protection Program that ends March 31st. So get your application in like yesterday.
Right. All right. Well, great. So I want to take just a second to breathe because I think we have some people online who are not, haven't already been doing government contracting, may have not even taken their sole proprietor business yet to the LLC level and have a company. So I want you to understand how everyone who's here today works together to help get you ready. So for example, if you were thinking about starting a business and you contacted Max and said, hey, I'm thinking about starting this business and I think I could bid on government contracts. Max might refer you to us at Startup Junkie to help you get ready to start a business. So like March 30th, I am doing 3 events all day to help women. It's called our Her Entrepreneur Journey, to teach women how to get ready to launch a formal business. And once you have that business entity, usually an LLC set up, have a tax ID number, and you have that business established and a plan, then that's the time I would refer you back to Max and maybe refer you to the SBA to see if you qualify for any of its programs to launch in that way. We also have a list here at Startup Junkie of every small business administration loan officer in Northwest Arkansas who has contacted us and said, hey, I want to help people get SBA loans with their small business. Because remember, the money does not come from the SBA except for the special disaster programs. So 2020 is a very different year. Hopefully we're never going to see it again. But the SBA backs the loans, so the banks are more likely to make them to the very risky small business borrowers. So that's how that works. And then once your business is launched and Max is helping you see if you can bid for government contracts and he's getting ready to tell you what kinds of businesses can do that, then we might send you to the chamber so you can start promoting your business and being part of the community. And so that's how all these groups work together. I also want to mention here at Startup Junkie Foundation, you do not have to be a U.S. citizen or provide proof of or any of that. If you're a human being who is thinking about starting a business or has one, we will help you. And that's why we have all these different resources here. We all provide different types of services, but we're the top of the funnel and we will help and talk to anyone and then refer you to people like the SBA, the SBTDC, if you qualify for their services, and Max and Ptac. So I just want you all to understand how all this works. And as Max presents in a minute, we're going to talk about how the certifications we're talking about are for set-aside government contracts. We all know it is historically documented that government workers on behalf of the U.S. government in history have discriminated against women and minorities and disabled veterans on purpose. They did that, and we know that, and they were denied access. And because we are the greatest nation on earth, our government is trying to remedy this. And so our government has said that was wrong. We should not have done that. We have passed laws to prevent it, but we need to give minorities and women and disabled persons and people operating in very low income areas, these hub zones, the chance to catch up. And so as you hear what Max talks about in this, these are the set aside contracts, but do realize if you're on this workshop and you're not in those categories, If no qualified business is a set aside that applies, then oftentimes the contract's open to the general public. So our government is here to serve everyone, but our government has a responsibility because I'm a woman and I pay taxes. And by gosh, 50% of our society is women, and I want to see 50% of the women getting access to my tax dollars in these government contracts, okay? So that's the way it works. There's something here for everyone. So just kind of understand the history of this and why this is a wonderful program and a great program for our country. So now I'm going to turn it over. The rest of this presentation will be from Max Franks. And so to remind you, we've had a lot of folks, we're all trying to help y'all. Max is a procurement counselor. Max's office is located in Bentonville. And Max is someone that you can reach out to. You'll get his contact information at the end of this, and he will help you one-on-one understand, get your account set up, teach you how to bid on contracts. Any human that has a properly set up Arkansas business that is eligible for bidding on contracts, Max will help you. I'm going to turn it over to Max, and you'll get a copy of his slides later today or tomorrow when Caleb gets the video ready and all of the documents, okay? So Max, we'll turn it over to you for the rest of our time.
Thank you, Martha. And thank you, Claudia, for the excellent introduction here. We're going to go into the nuts and bolts of government contracting. This again is our staff that will help you assist in these areas. I like to show this so that you can see that we are a team, and that you will see that it's when government goes, if one of us is taking a day off or a vacation, you aren't left out there. You have people here who could assist you. Why should you be a government contractor? Because the federal government is the best customer in the world. In 2019, they spent $578 billion buying, or as Martha called it, procurement for the federal government. Now, the federal government, as Martha pointed out, has laws and have set up certain requirements, and on average, 23% of all government contracts go to small businesses. And they have made their goals for years and years. In fact, last 2019, if you look while the goal was 23%, they actually obtained 26.5%. And when you do the math, that's over $132 billion went to small businesses in the United States. And as we looked earlier, there are set aside goals for each of the woman-owned, disadvantaged, service disabled, and Hubzone companies. And for the last 3 years, the government has made all of those goals with the exception of the Hubzone program. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. What is a small business? That question has already been answered. And there are 3 requirements in the United States to be a small business. The first one is to be for profit. The federal government through the SBA determined that back in the 40s and 50s to be designated as a small business to the federal government, you must be small. Secondly, they determined that all of those for-profit businesses must have some kind of way to determine how big they will be on government standards. So the federal government determined a system called NAICS, N-A-I-C-S. It stands for North American Industrial Classification System. And all these 6-digit codes have what we call a size standard. The example I have on the screen for general construction, 236220 is the NAICS code for general construction, and the size standard is $39.5 million. And that is what we call services. On the other side of the screen, the example we have for products is 339950 is a sign manufacturer, and their size standard is in the number of employees. So to qualify to be a government contractor, you must be for profit. You must be under the size standard for your industry. And in almost all of these subcontracting plan programs, you must be an American citizen.
I'm on mute.
Now, another thing that Claudia brought up, which I'm very happy about, is the procurement area for where the federal government is updated the limits for that this year. And on the top of my screen, you see it says $10,000 to $150,000, and that has been updated recently to $250,000. But what I want you to see is how the government buys in each of those areas. At the bottom of the screen, it says micro purchase from $0 to $10,000. If you have the product that the government needs, they want to use credit card and buy these purchases every day. If it's over $10,000 but under $25,000, you have to be registered with the federal government in a database called Systems for Award Management. And we will look at that database here shortly. And if it's over $25,000 up through several million dollars, you will find out that they have to advertise those opportunities on a government website. And the current one is beta.sam.gov, but that will be changing in mid-April. So I want you to be aware of that. This is what sam.gov looks like. It is nothing more than a database, but anyone worldwide that does business with the federal government has to be in that database. And so we're going to do a little look-see at that. Interesting. I'm going to stop share for a second and find out why we are not seeing the SAM database.
So I think what Max is saying is he had a link where he could pull up the database. You may have to unshare, Max, and then choose your web browser.
That's what I did, and it didn't go there.
Okay, you got to click, so you got to unshare, and then you got to have that website address pulled up, and then you'll choose it in your menu. You'll click on it and hit share again.
I had it up, and it just, for some reason, went away, and we got it fixed now, so here we go again.
Okay.
Oh, come on. Well, we aren't going to it right now. We'll go to it here in a minute. For some reason, it's not doing exactly what we had planned. The point of it is SAM is a database, nothing more, nothing less. And what we will do is show you what's required to be registered with the federal government. There are 5 major pieces of information. The first one is the federal government pays a credit organization by the name of Duns and Bradstreet to keep 5 pieces of information about anyone who wants to work with the government. You give them that 5 pieces of information, and they give you a 9-digit number called a DUNS number, D-U-N-S. Now, a DUNS number tells the federal government nothing more than your company name and your company address, and your company address may not be a post office box because they do verify it. The second piece of information they will request from you is if you are a sole proprietor, a single business, you will use your social security number. If you are an LLC or incorporated in any way, you will use your federal tax ID number. The next statement that they will require from you is what NAICS code that we mentioned earlier that your company is under. A company may have more than one, but they have to have one to register with the government. Number 3, they need to have a bank account set up because the government presumes that you're going to get a government contract and they want to be able to pay you electronic fund transfer. And then you need to have what's called an assigned point of contact. If the government needs to talk to your company for any reason, they want to know who you want to talk to. If you're a large company like Boeing Aircraft, you have to appoint someone. But if you're a small company under 5 people, the owner may be doing everything in that particular event. So that's what's required to register as a federal vendor in SAM, Systems for Award Management. In Systems for Award Management, as I said, they ask you those 5-digit codes. And those codes are listed with the size standard to show you whether you are a small business or not. And
Hey,
so,
Max,
yes, ma'am.
sorry, are you able to share your PowerPoint again?
Yes, ma'am. Apparently, he just wants to give me trouble today for some reason. I'm sharing it. Are we using it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. This is actually Sam. It went to it apparently, and finally. And I wanted just to show you what it looked like here.
Yes,
And-
we're seeing the SAM website. Is that what you
Yes,
want to see?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. We finally got it to work for some reason. And I wanted you to see what it looked like, and I wanted to show you what an existing SAM looked like. So I'm just going into SAM, and I'm just putting in the name of an Arkansas company because this is public information, most of it. Whoops. All right, we'll do it again. All right, we'll do a different one. Well, unbelievable. I'll do it one more time and we'll skip it and go on if it's not going to work. There it went. When we look at a record of a company that exists, this is what a final record looks like. It has the company name, the company address, the DUNS number that we talked about that identifies that information with the federal government. And when you finish your SAM, you get a 5-digit code called a CAGE code. A CAGE code merely identifies to all government agencies that you finished your SAM, so you are then eligible for government contracts. And I mentioned that each company must have a point of contact. So if I go over here to the right and I click on the points of contact, it shows me who the company points of contact are. And then they can contact this company to work with them in whatever area that we're going to. Now back to the PowerPoint. As I was saying in SAM, we talked about the NAICS codes and how they're important because they determine whether you're a small business to the federal government.
Max, we're not seeing the PowerPoint. You'll have to stop share and then click on the square around the PowerPoint.
And I did
And
that.
then share
I don't know
again.
why it's acting up today all of a sudden. Let's try it again. Are we seeing the PowerPoint?
No, you'll have to stop share. You'll have to get that little hover.
I did.
Well, you've stopped the share, but now you've got to hit share and then choose the screen. You have to have your PowerPoint pulled up. So pull up your PowerPoint, then hit screen share and then click on the PowerPoint. You got it. You're back on.
I don't understand why though. Okay, here we go. The first business I want to go back to that Claudia mentioned is the Hubzone Program. This is one of the 4 subcategories for small business. A Hubzone, as Claudia pointed out, like all of the certifications, must be 51% owned. Hubzone is geographical located. And what that means to you is you click on the link here and you put in your home address for your company. And if it's in a Hubzone area, then you can register. The only major qualification that companies have to double check is that 35% of their government staff are located in a Hubzone. It does not have to be the same Hubzone. Hubzone is the fastest of all the certification programs. You can usually be registered there in under 90 days. And like all small business programs, you have to have an active SAM registration, or it will not register you in the SBA system to be registered as a Hubzone, woman-owned, or any other program. SAM is required for every certification program. When you're filling it out, there are, as Claudia said, within 10 business days, they will verify that you still want to be certified, but they will require certain documents. And each of these documents are specific for the type of company that you have. And if you do not have that particular document, you have to create a narrative telling them why it's not required in your business. Like if you're the only person in your company and there's no other stock but for you, you may not choose to have stock in your company, and you will need to write a short narrative explaining that to the Hubzone people. The next one I want to go over very quickly is called the Service Disabled Veteran Owned Program. The Service Disabled Verification Program is, as Claudia said, currently 2 ways. To work with the VA, the Veterans Administration, the hospitals, the cemeteries, you have to be verified by the VA that you are. And that takes up to 90 days to be verified. But if you're working for any other government agency, the Corps of Engineers, the Forest Service, anyone else, you can self-certify in sam.gov as long as you have 2 pieces of documentation, your DD-214, which are your discharge papers, and a ratings letter from the VA that you are disabled to a certain percent. But that is going to change in 2023. In 2023, they will do away with the self-certification, and all service disabled veteran-owned companies will have to be certified. And they have talked about moving the certification away from the VA and giving it to the Small Business Administration so that they will certify all companies, minority, women-owned, Hubzone, and veteran in 2023. Disabled vets, as we mentioned, must be a small business, which means they're for-profit, must own 51% or more, must run the day-to-day business decisions. In Arkansas, currently, there are 167 service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. They do every different type of work you can imagine, from construction to services to computers. And so that would be your competition in the state of Arkansas. Now, whether you are service disabled, whether you are Hubzone, whether you are just a small business trying to do and you don't fit any of those other areas, once you do your certification, a very important area is to market your company in SAM when you're doing SAM. The second from the last page is called the Sba Supplemental, and it will not work when you're doing your original SAM. But once you receive your cage code, you can come back into this page in SAM and click the Register Update Profile, and there are 9 additional pages which allows you to fill out a capabilities narrative, some keywords, some past performance information, so that when government contracting officers with the bids between $10,000 and $25,000 look for you to talk to you about doing a particular job, or if they're over $25,000 and they're setting aside that particular procurement for, say, woman-owned or Hubzone, they'll check and see how many of those companies by NAICS code are listed in the state of Arkansas, and that's required by federal law. So to advertise your company free of charge to government contracting officers, the second step after you register at SAM is to come back and do your marketing section. And then you may do your certifications. If you're going on to do women-owned or Hubzone, this page connects to all of those certifications. Where are those bids posted if they're over $25,000? And right now we have one called beta.sam.gov. And I'm going to beta.sam.gov. And this is what it looks like live. And if you want to look at government contracts that are currently out there for bid, you just click the link at the top, click contract opportunities, hit search.
Max, we're still seeing the PowerPoint. So you have to always hit unshare, then go click on the website and then share again. When you switch systems, it doesn't know what you're doing. There you go. Now, click share and click on the website.
I did this morning with a lady and we got it so it would do this, and I don't understand why it's acting up.
Well, I've never known it to let you go from PowerPoint to the live web without unsharing. So there you go. We can see it now. We got it now. We got sam.gov. Yep.
Okay. Basically, I click just to the opening page of Beta SAM, and you'll see at the top, currently today, worldwide, there are 95,995 open government bids. But that doesn't do you any good because you have to narrow that field either by location or by type of business you are. So one of the best ways to search is to use the keyword box. I put in AR and hit enter, and then I put ARKANSAS and hit enter, and it knocked it from 95,000 down to 1,774, a much more area. And this top one, just for example, is the Army National Guard is wanting to build a new dining center. I believe it's at the Fort Smith area part of the state. And to see all the details, all you have to do is click on the bid title and it will open it up. But I want to do one more step. I only want bids that are out real recent. So over here on your menu on the left, I go down to the publish date, and I publish in the last month, let's say, for example. Then you have to hit the filter button, and it knocked it down to 163 bids here. And you'll notice that bid at the top stayed there. It's the same one. okay? And you can go on down and you can look at them, and all you have to do is click on the title to open it. Here's one that's very interesting. It's at Pea Ridge National Park, just east of Fayetteville, Rogers area. And the National Park Service wants to lease some land so someone can hay it for them, because it's a battlefield and they need it clear so people can walk around the battlefield. And it's many acres. And so that's one of the many types of bids you will see there. And so it's very easy to search. And as Melanie pointed out, there are many thousands of websites, because if you think of all the federal websites, the state websites, the county websites, the city websites, we have a service called bid matching where we look for those bids and we email them to you every day. A free service of Ptac. And now we're going to go back and we're going to look at the PowerPoint again. Maybe. Well, maybe not. I'm going to shoot the girl who told me this would work. Definitely the wrong one.
Yeah, no, you got to keep the PowerPoint pulled up so it appears as one of the choices.
I did. Never had this much trouble in my whole life. Okay, now we're back to the PowerPoint.
We see it.
And we'll go down a few slides to get back where we were. It's Sba Supplemental. We're just there explaining how easy it is to find government contracts. The next thing I want to, just for a few minutes, I want to talk about the state of Arkansas, state procurement. And I've listed several of the places in Arkansas that have an online presence so that you can see the different areas. Several of our cities have excellent websites like Fayetteville and Hot Springs and of course Little Rock. And of course several of our agencies like the Arkansas Department of Building Authority, who does a lot of the building for Arkansas. The main difference between federal government and state government, you both have to be registered on a website. Of course, the state has their own, but in federal government, if the bid's over $25,000, it has to be advertised public. With the state, that threshold is $75,000. So what I'm saying is, I have the University of Arkansas very close to me here, and they're bidding out a whole bunch of stuff. But if it's not $75,000 or above, it will not appear on the state website. It will only appear on their local website. Again, that's another reason why we search for bids for people. The state of Arkansas also has a certification program for what we call DBEs, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. There are 2 certifications in Arkansas, one with the Department of Transportation, DOT, and one with the Arkansas Economic Development Commission. And Arkansas has goals for using DBEs in the state on their contracts, but they do not have set-asides as much as the federal government does. You know, where we have 5% for all women-owned business, they don't have it set up that particular way. So I want you to be aware that you can not only certify with the federal government, you can also certify with the state government that you're in. Here's a shot of the Department of Transportation in Arkansas showing their DBE program. Here's a shot of the Arkansas Economic Disadvantage Commission and their website. And I have their point of contact listed, Miss Karen Castle. And I want to stress one thing about the Arkansas Economic Development Commission. They do much more than just certify. They are an educational part of the state of Arkansas. They can help you with so many things. They help manufacturers in Arkansas grow by providing many different kinds of services. The certification program is only one small area that they provide for the state of Arkansas. So keep that in mind when you think about the Arkansas Economic Development Commission, that they have many services, and almost all of them are free to any in-state company that needs specific help. Now, this slide will be presented for you when you get this. I have the websites for everything we just talked about. The small business at sam.gov, the SBA 8A, woman-owned, Hubzone, or service-disabled veteran-owned program, and also for the state of Arkansas DBE program. So that if you want to look and read about them, you can become very good. Or, as Melanie suggested, call your local Ptac counselor and let us walk you through it and understand it better. This, as Melanie showed you, is our website. And once you come here, you can click on the staff and see all of our addresses and telephone numbers. You can see all our services. And to me personally, we have a trainings link. You can not only see the trainings that come up, past trainings that we have done, we turn into like a YouTube video so that you can replay a specific program that we put on for you right there in your office. And we have a third-party vendor called Govology. And because you're a client of Arkansas Ptac, we can give you a special code so you can see some other special trainings that you might be interested in the easy of your office over online. So we're here to connect with you, just like Startup Junkie, just like the Chamber, just like the SBA, just like the Northwest Arkansas areas that can help you grow in government contracts, because our goal is to help grow the economic viability of the state of Arkansas. Again, as Melanie pointed out, this is our contact information. I'm up here in Northwest Arkansas. I have an office at Northwest Arkansas Community College, and we have our main office in Little Rock on University Avenue, and we're here to help you with all things that have to do with government contracts. And I'd like to leave a little bit of time for questions.
All right, Max. While you've been presenting, we've had some people ask questions, and Melanie and I and Claudia have been dropping answers in from them. Most of them have been kind of more specific, like a question about for them as an individual. I did have someone who asked about, said they already have their woman-owned small business certification but need help with other national certifications. What are other national certifications? You might remind everybody that you could help them get, or are they talking about something through the SBA?
Probably through the SBA, but let me look at it from the government point of view.
Okay.
You had your woman-owned certification in 2020, okay? All of those rules changed in October 2020, and now all of those people who were certified earlier have to recertified as a woman-owned small business in the new beta.certify.sba.gov. And I ran the list not too long ago of how many people have made it through the new certification program in the last 4 months since they've started certifying again. And there was only a handful in the state of Arkansas because so many of them are in the certification process and they are not finished yet. Okay. So right now, contracting officers in Arkansas aren't putting out very many set-asides for women-owned small business because there aren't very many that have been certified and they can no longer be self-certified anymore. On service disabled veteran owned, I said that as of today, if you're working with the VA, you have to go through the CVE certification program. But if you're working with any other government agency besides the VA, you can be self-certified, and that is changing. And by 2023, you can no longer self-certify as a service disabled veteran owned. And the government, the federal government, only cares about small business, Hubzone, 8A, woman-owned. Those are the ones they're watching right now as far as federal certifications for all government contracts.
Okay, Max, something else I'd like for you to talk about to folks is, you know, sometimes when people think about government contracting, they think about construction, building highways, putting in a tech system. I'd like for you to just talk to people about, you know, we're talking about cities putting out a bid for landscaping, state parks putting out a bid to buy hay for the horses, park rangers ride, somebody to replace the carpet or the floors. Could you talk a little bit about the vast array of city, state, county, and federal contracts so people understand how food producers, people who do embroidery of shirts, how vast this possibility is?
We have a statement that's fairly acceptable in most federal government contracting. What does the federal government buy? Everything. I'm going to give you my favorite one. I have a little mom and pop grocery store in a little town in just over the line into Missouri called Neosho, Missouri. And what do they do with government contracts? The National Guard has a big presence inside of Neosho. They have a training area, which means they have groups coming and going all year long. They buy their groceries, the National Guard does, from that little company, little grocery store. So they'll back up a big truck and they'll have ordered them pallets of stuff sometimes. And also, they also do a little catering on the side. And so they cater special meetings for the Army National Guard there in Neosho. I had a gentleman one time who took it as a challenge, said, I'm going to find something the government does not buy. He found something. He said on the military base, the federal government cannot pay for tanning services to go to a tanning
bed. That's hilarious.
You have to be personally reimbursed for that. They will not pay for it directly. So the government buys 99.99% of everything.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I have a brother who has cirrhosis, and he got his insurance to cover light treatments. So I don't know. I bet if you've got some military folks with cirrhosis, they might be able to get some tanning bed. We had someone ask this question. Max said, if the federal government only lists contracts over $25,000, where can you find the ones under 25? And I think it'd be important in your answer to remind them there's also city, county, and state contracts that might be under 25. But that's a good question. If they're under 25,000 with the federal government, does that mean they can just do their own system and not put it on SAM?
No, you're close to being right. For bids between $10,000 and $25,000, the federal government looks for you. They go into the database, especially to that last area that I showed called the Sba Supplemental. They look for your capabilities narrative. They look what NAICS codes that you're using. They look at what geographic area that you're in so that they can get 4 or 5 companies, send them all the same bids, and whoever turns back in the biggest bid will be awarded. But there's also a caveat there. Once the bids are awarded, okay, once they're given to a company to provide, the federal government has a website called the Federal Procurement Data System. If you just Google FPDS, you will see it. And all government contracts, after they're awarded, are put on that website for you to go see who won, what agency did it, how much they paid for. In other words, we use it for market research every day. You might ask me, how much is the government paying for a new computer, for example? And I could go into the Federal Procurement Data Database, search by keyword or NAICS code, and tell them the last purchase was by GSA, General Services Administration. They bought 35 computers and they paid $1,995 for those type of computers.
Okay, it's good info. But you know, what I want to tell everyone is that I have worked in small business development, and I've been an SBA banker in Northwest Arkansas making small business loans, and I can't count anymore how many of my clients I have sent to Max to help them with this process. And they rave about him. He has done this for over 20 years. He will help you step by step understand how to get ready, how to get in the SAM system, then talk to you about places to go to bid on Arkansas state contracts. The place to go if you think you can bid on a contract for the University of Arkansas for something they're going to buy, embroidery shirts or event planning. I know people who have bid on contracts to do event planning for the University of Arkansas and with the city of Fayetteville or the city of Bentonville. So like we said, later today or first thing in the morning, as soon as we get in all the slides to us from our speakers converted to PDFs, then Caleb's going to send those out to you, plus the contact info for the Rogers Chamber, and then a link to this video if you want to send it to someone else or watch it again. But I highly advise you, Claudia and Max have given you their direct emails. So talk to them, reach out to us if you don't think your business is properly set up yet, and we can connect you to local resources and give you some guidance on how to get your LLC set up, help you find a local CPA or someone to help you understand how to get your tax ID number and get your business bank account set up and get your business ready to see if you're ready to start bidding on contracts. And then you can reach out to Max once your business is ready to go and start talking to him. And then as you grow, we can connect you with the SBA in Little Rock or with local SBA lenders. Micro lenders that do under 50,000 like Forge and Huntsville and Communities Unlimited, they're SBA lenders. And if you need a business plan and market research, we can send you to the SBDC to get their staff to help you physically make cash flow projections and get some market research. So we're all here to help everybody at every level.
Martha, to answer or follow up a little bit on what you were talking about earlier, if a small business just wanted to see what's available out there, they need to call their city manager or their city clerk, their county judge, and just ask them the question, how do you post bids in their city and their county? So many of our counties do not have procurement websites. That I have had some counties that actually put their bids in the Wednesday newspaper. I have some that tack it to the courthouse bulletin board.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. Yep.
So you have to know how they put bids out. And they buy everything from school supplies to air conditioning repair. You know, they do so much on the city county level. But you have to talk to them. I showed you a list that showed Hot Springs and Little Rock and North Little Rock and Bentonville and Fayetteville. Sure, but there's 75 counties in this state, and each of them do it a different way. We have some counties that will pay a third-party vendor to advertise their county bids online on paid websites. In other words, you have to pay to see that county's bids. But if you go to the source, the county itself, they don't charge you because you are a taxpayer and they will give you that information. That's one very important thing. Sure, the federal over 25 are online and the state over 75, but you need to know about your local institutions, your colleges, your county government, your city government. You're missing a lot of market revenue if you haven't at least looked into how your local area government entities put out their procurement bids.
Yeah, and like the University of Arkansas, if you just type into Google University of Arkansas Procurement Office, it pops up a website and it has all the frequently asked questions and how to register and bids that are currently available. So there's all different levels of bidding and government contracts outside the federal and the SAM system, which Max has talked to you about and which Claudia talked to you about today. So
Correct.
Let's see. I don't think we have any other, I'm trying to see if there's any other questions that haven't been, oh, someone asked, do former National Guard members, can they be veterans? Do they count as veterans?
If they had active duty service, the answer is yes.
Do they still have to have a DD 214
Yes.
long form and it shows honorably discharged? Okay.
Yep.
And I'm trying to see lots of thank yous. This is all great information. That's excellent. We appreciate you all saying thank you. All right, well, I think that is all the questions we had, and we'll get all the information out to everyone. Remember, if somebody shared this link with you and you didn't sign up yourself, then we don't have your email address. So send that to caleb@startupjunkie.org and he'll add you to the list. And if you don't have this by chance, by like the end of the day Friday, email Caleb. Also check your spam folders and your junk in case it's our first email with you. It could have gone there. So thank you, Max. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Claudia. I'm not sure if Steve or Marnie or Karen are still online, but thank you to the Rogers-Lowell Area Chamber. We appreciate your sharing of this excellent information to help grow our small businesses and continue to help our country recover from the COVID crisis and bring that income in. So thank you, everyone.